So Dallas, again, another situation where Dallas is just the better team. I'm sorry, Toronto. Tons of talent on Toronto's side, though. Every team has tons of talent. Toronto also doing a lot of the Zarya play. My worry is if you don't have a specific playstyle to counter Dallas Fuel's aggressive playstyle on the Zarya, I don't think Hotba matches up to HANBIN across the board. And I don't know if they're going to have what it takes to be able to edge out this mirror. But let's see what happens, Toronto. TP comes in. They're marginally faster. But Toronto has Reaper here instead. Oh my god, that's a really good angle for Reaper to get, apparently. I don't know why HANBIN's getting this aggressive with self-bubble. Granted, he forces Hotba self-bubble, but Edison's not there. I don't think this bubble was necessary. I think this is very easily healed through, given that Reaper's not there. And then Chio going down, unfortunately. I don't know what he was doing. Like, you don't do this as Lucio unless you're speeding in. So I don't know what this rollout was. And like you see him falling already to half, and then he just gets beamed down because he's just flying around in the air into multiple sight lines. I don't understand Chio's play there. And yeah, nade gets right past HANBIN after he uses self bubble. Okay, easy start for Toronto. Let's see. We do get to hear Custa's casting at least when we're not watching the replay viewer, so that's nice.
Alright, Toronto cut the point. Okay, here it is. Time to show up. Well, Reiner, was he right? A 3-0 with the Defiant? I don't think it'll be that much of a clean sweep, but it'll be a close game for sure. Dallas Fuel rotating through White Room. Try and make their way onto the point. A nade from Fielder. Doesn't quite find anything, but they've got to be scared of Twilight. Sparkle
really aggressive positioning from Sparkle here. It does pull Reaper over there. Okay, so how did Fuel even get onto the point here? Self-bubble onto Hotba. Where's the nade from Twilight right now? Like, if you splash a nade, like, right up in this corner, then Hotba doesn't have to back after that self-bubble, and then Edison's out of position. HANBIN dropping dangerously low, but manages to stay up somehow. Oh, he's dead now. Oh, just kidding. Fielder's dead first. Yeah, really good neutral play from Toronto. But ults are building out for Dallas. It's going to come down to an ult play on either side here to retake.
Edison's only at 40% ult. He hasn't done anything so far in this map. What are we going to see here from the Dallas Fuel?
Very hard to retake this point. This is arguably the hardest point to retake on any Koth map. This one and probably Busan. Oh, excuse me. Busan Mecha Base. Nano and self-bubble used. Nano is enough to keep HANBIN alive for long enough to kill Twilight, but that's a big old grab. Holy shit. Bit of an overcommitment from Toronto. Obviously didn't need the tac visor once we saw that grab, but hard to make that call in the moment. And you did burn two relatively big ultimates from Dallas, but now you've got the beat and the grab. Grab should be more than enough to wipe this team fight, but they've got the beat if Hisu finds a good angle for a Blossom. Yeah, they're dead. Sparkle is also dead, though. Hisu's not going to go for Blossom. Okay. I was going to say. They did have to use the beat. All right. 99%. Pretty standard for Lijiang Garden for the first retake. But now ult economy's relatively even, and this is where Fuel can really show their macro prowess and knowing how to trade resources more effectively than Toronto. And if Toronto overcommits and doesn't get enough for it, then I think Dallas just win this map. First two fights here are going to be basically dry-ish, unless early nanos are built. But I don't see Hisu getting a Blossom off for free. Kazoo Kid, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream.
Toronto Defiant, you know, they can wait. Twilight's very close to the nano. Death Blossom available for Hisu.
Hisu's trying. That's very aggressive. He didn't even get bubbled there. Okay, neutral still. Nano Blossom from Edison before Toronto's ready. Toronto thinks that because they had a relatively early ult economy advantage that they managed to keep it throughout this TP play from Hisu. But really good read on the situation from Dallas, and they just like forced the issue. They didn't even have bubble there, and he does get slept, but that was really good timing from Edison and Fielder to find that play. Nice job, Dallas. And now ult economy's dangerously. It's dangerously low for Dallas, but they do have attack visor soon. It is still hard for Toronto to break through space with just Nano and Blossom. Well, not if Sparkle's dead, though. But then Chiyu finds Twilight. Oh my god. So this is what an equalization play looks like, team. Although finds a kill onto Sparkle, and the normal thing for Fuel to do, like the expected thing for Fuel to do, is to try and like get to point, get to natural cover, maybe try to answer back somewhere else. But because Toronto's like so spread out right now, Fuel finds a reason to take a numbers advantage even though they're down one of their members and on a fight over here. And even though Chiyo gets anti-nated, he finds the most important boop he could ever find, and that forces an early Nano. Again, like if you just die here as Twilight and just restart the fight and don't waste Nano and don't try to force this play, then I think Toronto have an easier time retaking next time. Even though they're trying to work off of a pick on Sparkle, this is such like an optimistic Nano play because this needs to find instant value. This needs to lead to a team wipe in order to retake the point here. And I don't think it's going to. Edison pressuring out. Yeah. Oh, it was Hotba that got nanoed. And he does find HANBIN. But they give up all the space they had to find it. Now Sparkle's going to be back. And another boop from Chiyo. Doesn't even matter that Chiyo's dead there. And then Aldo gets traded out. Holy shit, Chiyo. Who needs ultimates? Right after I was criticizing Chiyo's Lucio play for not being aggressive enough, he finds plays like that.
Doesn't matter what you do to them, they always have an answer what you provide. The rookie Chiyo coming up big with two incredible boops, and the veteran Sparkle putting the nail in the coffin with the visor. HANBIN getting close to that grab, but Hopper's got another one. Is he going to go huge?
Overtime is here, 99 to 98. This could be a full blowout for the Defiant. The Graviton surge in the
He grabbed nothing.
Hopper can't do much.
And the beat was there anyway. Aldo's dead. Hisu no Wraith. And the grab. Just grab, yeah. Is that going to be enough? Oh my god, how did you not grab Hisu and Zarya here? Right here. Oh, the TP, okay. But like... The question here for Dallas is, do you react defensively off of the Reaper TP from Hisu? Or do you react aggressively and try and kill everyone? And I think the problem is Fielder and Chiyo. Those are the ones that die immediately, right? Fielder and Sparkle and Edison, actually. So because of their positioning being vulnerable to Hisu's TP location, they needed to make a defensive play here. And HANBIN needed to ally bubble someone to make sure that Hisu goes down here. But he played for an aggressive play anyway. He disconnected from his team. And round over. Damn. That was crazy. Really good play from Hisu there on the Reaper, but definitely could have been outplayed if Hotba wasn't, not Hotba, if HANBIN wasn't trying to get as aggressive as he was.
The Reaper and says, I'll do it myself. Absolutely clutch play from the Defiant, and this is an important first round from the Defiant because that's
perfectly placed in the doorway. God, that was a clean TP. There you go, Dallas Fuel now switching up the composition.
May over Soldier here. So obviously the wall potential's there. And I guess you could like walk aggressively as May and like absorb a lot of pressure with Bubble and your shift available, similar to Reaper. I could see it working.
They're going on the May instead. It makes sense. That might be why Sparkle is the lineup right now. So
decent bubble, but doesn't really do much. Now with
getting control of the white room, but Hisu's going in.
Little TP doesn't really have too many bubbles at his back, but already takes out Sparkle. With that removed, you don't get the walls to isolate the rest of the team. Nice
oh, the sleep. That was insane. I think the biggest question is, without a soldier, is Mei enough damage to clean up post-bubble engages?
It's impressive at that point too. I mean, you lost Sparkle, you can't separate the team, and then all those just free firing.
That is that big difference between the Mei and the soldier. That soldier just pumps out so much. Sparkle getting caught off guard with that aggression by Hisu, and now they need to find some better walls.
He is charged up and ready to go. Chio gets
Yeah, I mean, those bubbles are decent, but I don't think the damage is there. And they're going in when Hotba still has both bubbles, and they can't burst down with just Mei Reaper.
Losing a fight back to back.
Are they going to keep the Mei?
Hey, happened last round, maybe it can happen again. Toronto Defiant.
Guess so. 50% to Blizzard is pretty good.
And the grab coming up.
The exact same story from last round. It feels like Dallas Fuel is just walking into a meat grinder.
And now a lot of ultimates on the side of Toronto to start things off. Just Nano for fuel.
Are dying before they can even really get in the fight. But we're starting to get ultimates up. Twilight with the nano boost, Fielder with the nano boost. How are they going to put these up?
TP bubble changes well those position, but that's not enough to get an advantage. Nano answered by beat. Nice wall actually, but the grab will make sure that doesn't matter. All right, only Nano used from Dallas, beat and Nano and grab used from Toronto. Not a bad ultimate trade, but this is going to guarantee like 80 if not 90% on the point for Toronto. Toronto should they should try and tack visor early-ish and force HANBIN into a weak position, ideally, although it is hard to tack visor on this map, especially early. And then maybe they can play to win with Hisu Blossom, but more than anything, they should play to just like stall the point as much as possible and then build 5 ults. They do get the beat and the grab. That's more than enough for Toronto. They're happy with that. They didn't get the Blizzard, which is going to be a pain to get through early. Okay. No, run, live. That's actually a really good point. Dallas only used grab and beat there. They still have both DPS ults and a nano charging. In Toronto, they can build Nano Blossom, but they really want to grab, I think. And I don't know if Hotba's going to get a grab in time for before HANBIN's grab, given that they have position and they've got ultimates like Blizzard to follow up on. Blizzard right here would be massive. There it goes. Edison gets taken out immediately, but the Blizzard, I think, is more than enough. And then the Nano and HANBIN just to make sure. Even though these kills are coming in favor of Toronto, I think the position's really good for Fuel. Oh, is it enough, though? Edison's going to be back soon? Question mark? Sparkle finding another kill on the Mei. Edison with a Blossom late into the fight. Wait. Holy shit, Hisu contested that really late. That's the best situation you could have asked for from Fuel. Late commitment of ultimates from Toronto, and still a winning fight. HANBIN's now on the Doomfist. Probably not his signature hero, but he wanted to make sure he's back on time. A little bit of anti-synergy coming in from... I mean, maybe you could make something happen with Doom and Mei. HANBIN goes in and gets slept, but they're getting kills. They're just all in aggressing with Doom and Wall. Damn. How does that happen? All 5 people turn around for a Doomfist is how that happened, and then 3 people get anti-nated. The bubbles cleansed 2. Now both bubbles used instantly. HANBIN got slept, but he takes 0 damage. Edison is forced to Wraith, but this opens up a ton of damage opportunity for Sparkle. The wall makes their backline incredibly uncomfortable. They're doing 0 damage right now during their bubble uptime. The grab from Hotba just doesn't come out despite 5 people being on top of him. Literally, I think, like, instead of double bubbling that nade, if you just, like... If you just grab this, like, you self-bubble, sure, and then you turn around and grab right now, you get the Lucio and the Mei and whoever else is trying to follow this up, and then even just Hotba alone turns on those people while everyone else stabilizes. Hisu can be more than enough to try and force Sparkle's shift and then turn onto HANBIN during sleep. I don't know, this seems very winnable for Toronto. But instead, like, they're trying, all 5 people are trying to run away. Grab would have been absolutely insane there. I don't know. I think they way too much attention to Dooms. I think because they hit the sleep especially, they were baited into thinking they get a free kill, and then Dallas just hit the go button.
If they just take this fight head to head, they don't have the ultimates to close it out. This is final fight territory. Dallas Dallas have nothing in the tank. I want to see something different. Maybe
I wouldn't say Dallas have nothing. They got Blizzard and Beat. Toronto needs a very good grab though, and that's gonna be hard versus Chio's Beat. That's a pretty good grab. But Chio still kills Twilight during that? And the Blizzard counteracts all their aggression? Toronto can't decide where they want to commit. Fielder down doesn't even matter at this point, I don't think. Body shot kills although here. This comp is kind of interesting from Dallas. I think it's very punishable. I think the Tracer pick especially it makes this very punishable. But Dallas should win this with ultimates coming up now. Doomfist and Reaper ultimates almost up. Goodbye, goodbye. Not bad. That looked so favored for Defiant early on, and then Fuel just started winning with ultimates and stuff. That was crazy. More Zarya, more Soldier Reaper. Oh my god, that's a lot of damage coming through. Really early aggression here. So what causes Twilight to drop to 1 HP?
Going over to the soldier, so we're going to have a complete mirror in this first fight.
It's not a Helix rocket, because look where Soldier is. Is that just Reaper and Zarya damage? That's insane. Maybe also a dart from Fielder. And then the sleep on Hotba, like, they just win neutral for free by doing more damage and hitting a sleep dart. Dallas is not afraid to just let stuff rip, huh? Cheerios? I guess like the quad mixtape drop from Chio from across the map. Dallas rushing in, forcing the Wraith. Edison able to go aggressive here. Ooh, he's wraithing in. Does he have a bubble? I guess he does. He killed Hisu. HANBIN jumps out the window, although is dancing his feet off. There's the Wraith from Edison. Does it matter? I don't think so. He's killing everyone. And they still haven't capped. I don't know why Defiant rotated a point so early here after losing neutral. I guess it's because Edison TP'd. And this is a good opportunity to take point, but they need to hold like the backup point, obviously, because they don't want to get spammed out. Such an early bubble onto Edison. This seems like really optimistic. Maybe Dallas has always been doing this and I just haven't noticed, but like this is what I've been so critical about APAC teams, because like what does this bubble really accomplish other than like, again, like it just limits your damage opportunity window. I think you could squeeze more value off of this by either having HANBIN walk in first and have Edison right behind him, and then if necessary HANBIN has the self bubble, or if Edison starts getting, or you just drop back, Edison takes your place and then you ally bubble Edison, or you do this kind of bubble only off TP plays. It seems a bit early. Maybe I'm crazy. They do find Sparkle with that nade, which is sick, and they hit sleep and anti-HANBIN, but they can't kill him. Despite having him slept, self-bubble burned, and Fielder dead, now they finally kill him. But yeah, and then Edison and Chio just clean up the rest. This is really good individual plays from the Fuel, but like macro-wise, I'm not seeing anything too impressive. They're just better players.
They take the point. We always talk about Sparkle, we talk about Edison, we talk about HANBIN. Chio's making his name known right now. Absolutely having those crucial mid-fight impacts, getting those kills, staying alive more importantly, and closing out these fights. And Dallas Fuel need that because Toronto Defiant keep finding these first picks somehow.
Hisu is so far behind in terms of ult charge right now. 50% to Edison's ult. There you go.
Massive Blossom. Even though Edison dies there, that's super worth it. And they continue getting aggressive because Fuel knows how to play positions. I mean, there's not much to say. Like, Fuel's just executing clean plays and Toronto's not ready for it.
Edison goes down.
It's not like super impressive. It's just like they lock them into a position. Toronto clearly has no idea where they want to go, what kind of space they want to take. They've got no rotation or aggressive cooldowns in mind. Hotbuzz walking in, trying to retake space using self bubble to get charged, and then they burn a bubble, and then Edison goes in for a blossom. Very optimistic TP without a bubble landing. Grab on HANBIN, but he's not dead. This is a very bad look for Toronto. Nano, yeah, like. So remember what I said about like crashing waves in the previous match? This is exactly that. And unfortunately, Toronto is trying to answer aggressive play from Houston, but not from Houston, good God, from Dallas with counter aggression plays. They're crashing waves into each other. But Toronto's wave isn't big enough to overtake Dallas's aggressive window, so they both just kind of dissipate. And instead of Fuel committing more cooldowns to this, they wait for the crash to dissipate, and then they put another wave in. And then if that doesn't get enough value, they didn't get kills, they're instantly receding. So even though Toronto's having the time to push back here, they're committing instantly. So imagine like a metronome swinging back and forth. And depending on resources being used, positions being taken, ultimates used, and all these kinds of things, whichever way the pendulum's swinging, it's either swinging, I don't know why I'm using hand motions when I could just be drawing on the screen. It's either swinging in terms of Toronto's favor or swinging in terms of Dallas's favor. And it goes back and forth depending on what's being used and stuff like that. What's happening is whenever it's in Dallas's favor, they commit ults and they take space and they push as far as they can. But then as soon as it hits Toronto's side, Dallas start backing off immediately. And then when it's at the apex of Toronto's advantage state, they're committing these ultimates, but Dallas is already leaving because they know their opportunity window is over. This is what top-level teams do that mid-level teams don't. They don't try to force this advantage. Like, even though they've got these ultimates ticking right now, they're not trying to force an aggressive play because they know their window's over. They know their opportunity right now is done. They either find value or they don't. And they didn't find the value, so they back up because they know Toronto's about to wind up and punch back. So by the time, although in Twilight, their ultimates are coming online, Dallas is already out of LOS. Look how fast they back up. They're already gone, even though Sparkle's Tac Visor's still going. A weaker team, the Atlanta Reign, the Florida Mayhem, like we saw in Kings Row, would continue pushing, trying to force value out of that Tac Visor, thinking that this ultimate is enough to carry me through this fight, when this is clearly Toronto's advantage state and their opportunity to take a fight they want. And instead of just being able to push back due to advantage, they're committing more resources, trying to double down on that advantage. And instead, Dallas is mitigating both those things, both the natural advantage state due to positioning and the advantage state due to ultimates committed, with the same movement. This is how you get advantages in the long game in macro play, by outplaying major resources with minor things like repositioning.
They can just back off. Hey, look at that. That's a lot of damage from Hisu, but we can just run away. They come straight
Exactly, we can just run away.
Negate so many ultimates. Defiant's bank basically empty. The Fuel still in control.
Yeah.
Now, again, this is the tail end of I keep wanting to say Houston for some reason. This is I think it's because of Hisu's name. This is the tail end of Toronto's advantage state, but they're trying to force another play. And Dallas knows that if they try to force something like this, they might have even seen Hisu going for TP. They'd be like, hey, you guys just used all your ultimates. What are you doing? You just took all the positioning. You can't keep going. This is the end of the line. Now we get to push back into you. And this only becomes worse for Toronto when they try to do this, because Dallas, again, like, even if they're not reacting to Hisu, they're reacting to their own advantage state. Hisu's doubling down at their disadvantage now, taking himself out of the fight zone. And then Dallas just pushed back into them. They don't care about the objective because they own it. They don't care about dealing with Hisu because he won't be a threat if they push in. That was incredibly clean from Dallas. And this is just showing what a top-level team can do that mid-level teams can't.
They're going to have to find magic because there's 10% remaining and Dallas Fuel holding aggressive.
Wouldn't it be nice to have a 50% opacity minimap on the right side of the screen? Yeah. I think it'd be nice to have just like a full opacity minimap, like right here. Maybe not right here because it would cover like the UI. Like, at least when you're doing like third person like this, then you have it up maybe. And then when you go to like first person POV, then maybe you have it like up here or something like that.
Touch. Looks like although switch to the Tracer to do just that. So it is going to be a 5v4 in this choke point. but Dallas Fuel working their way.
Or like actually, right where the player cam is, put it over here, just like you're saying. Minimap here, and then when it's in like either like a top down, well I guess the top down is the minimap, either when it's in like a third person POV, you can put it like right center of the screen, make it a little bit bigger. Or you just leave it in the same spot. Or you take it off during third person because maybe that's enough information, I don't know. Goes for the aggressive play, gets instantly absorbed. Now Dallas start pushing back in, a nice boot from Hotboy, can knock Sparkle off the map, but it's not going to be enough to close this out, and I think Dallas still win this. HANBIN just keeps going. Goodbye, Twilight. I think Fuel's kind of okay here. Grab him. Grab them both! What the fuck? Grab them both! I think a grab right here kills Chio, or not Chio, Chorong. God, too many names. Kills Chorong, and then you turn around and then also kill Although there, because he had a burned recall. Even with just those two people alive. I mean, killing Isu is good enough too. Oh, here's the little... It's good, but HANBIN just rushing down the back line. Twilight is in trouble, keeping the rest of his team alive, but so is Chorong. Chorong gets nanoed so he can use the... Fielder goes down. Okay, maybe Toronto win this after all. But they used literally everything, and Dallas Fielder coming in with both DPS ults. I think Fielder goes back to Ana as well.
Timely moment for the Toronto Defiant to get all their ultimates. The unfortunate part of that,
I think if HANBIN grabbed a second earlier there, where he got both Chorong and Although on Tracer, maybe they win that. Hard to say though. Hard to say if that grab even would have landed, to be honest.
Going to force so much positioning from the Defiant. Put them in that corner, and Edison's going to close that door with the Death Blossom. Keep an eye out for that. Here we go, Spark with the visor.
Early visor. Ooh, paired with the Blossom. Edison, what is this? I'm guessing HANBIN told him he had a bubble here, but like, that's very aggressive. Oh! No, he didn't get the Lucio. Unfortunately, the Dallas Fuel's still bleeding, not burning blue right now. Okay. Both your DPS ults used now. Ultimate Economy is going to start favoring Toronto as they start building their next nano faster.
Twilight sleeps Edison going into that fight. That is the crucial moment of that fight. Edison isn't able
Thanks,
to get
Nurse
that space, has to force it late into the fight, and some
a lot of it's just mainly confusion.
by the Defiant backline to stay alive. Now Dallas Fuel,
Early TP from Edison to force some space.
very close everybody, but first, Twilight down, caught in the
You
middle.
can't just lose a fight to that.
By the Defiant backline to stay alive. Now Dallas
Imagine if Toronto, like, again, this is the exact same situation Toronto was in as the attackers versus Fuel. And this is the exact same situation with that they lost on Control Center as well when the Doomfist went in. You literally win this for free because they committed TP onto point and a bubble by pushing forward. 100% for free. The only thing you have to worry about is a Reaper behind you, but you got more than enough time to wear off the bubble and then just Chorong marks him with a boop and then he's no longer a threat during the map, and you've got both bubbles going aggressively on your Reaper against a team that's already pushing into you. Like, how do you react so poorly to this? This is the epitome of like scripted gameplay, and this is the problem that a Shock started having as well, where like if you react overly obvious to an aggressive play by constantly showing you want to go second, you're not able to take advantage of a situation like this that comes up for free. I don't care if like Edison flips the point by TPing on a point, like you can't react like this. You literally just lost to the most telegraphed engage in the game.
The bubbles from Hopper just not there to save his life. The Defiant, they need to touch. OT is here, and the Dallas Fuel just run over them in the last few seconds. They're going to take map number 1 of the series.
almost a little too easy. Just walked in the front door. Somehow
They literally just walked in. That's just poor shot calling. Don't like that engage at all. That should not happen for free. Alright, next map, Midtown. Toronto picking Midtown is interesting.
And we're starting to see a team that
And again, just running more Zarya here. I'd be worried.
is good in this kickoff clash land, starting to sort of make waves against the Dallas Fuel.
Very well could be.
I feel like if you're Toronto, you'd want to pick maps that favor more Winston play, but maybe not.
We knew that was coming.
Oh, big flank. Sparkle and Chio just kind of poke.
How are you going to hold defensively on Midtown
We knew that.
and just not have any pressure over here? How is your Soldier Lucio not pressuring over here? How is Twilight not ready to hit a nade over here? Like, there's 2 places for them to come, here and here. Every team does this. And, like, literally, like, the reason you don't want to open this up is because this angle from Sparkle literally forces them back here, or forces a bubble like this from Hotba. And then even though there's less people, you're not crashing 5 people into them, this becomes easier because you bled out resources from them. This is, like, this is day 1 stuff. I mean, Soldier's up there alone, but he can't do anything alone. I'm surprised Sparkle isn't taking like way more space there. He's opting for a more passive angle over here. I feel like they could have just kicked out Aldo, made Aldo like forced to play like a defensive angle like here or here. And then that's even better for them, but this is okay too. I don't know, it just seems like incredibly weak from Toronto. Like they don't threaten enough space here. Remember what I said about 3-angle maps? Or three lane maps on defense. You want to be able to mark 2 effectively. Oh, eager flick there from Sparkle. If you can't mark 2 effectively, like they're literally only marking the main angle there, then you're going to give up space somewhere else, and that's going to force your position. Or your resources. Either way. HANBIN's a 1v3ing into train meantime. Everyone's just dying. Like there's no reason for where Toronto are playing, because like not only are they giving up the space over here, they still can't fight over here. Like I don't understand the reason. Like I maybe if they were planning on like speeding in here after the Soldier makes their rotation, because if they actually push towards the spawn of Dallas here, then Sparkle's position on Soldier actually doesn't help them too much. Because then if Sparkle tries to match here, then all those directly above him and spam him out. And then if they waste time, as both Sparkle and Chio are trying to kick out all low, that's worth it because then you're taking a 4v3 this way. But, like, I don't know. And also, like, the Fuel didn't have Lucio with them because Chio is this way. Like, as soon as you see Chio over there with Sparkle, like, you just call it all-in engage off of, like, Reaper and Zarya. Like, I think you win that. But instead they just stood there, got beamed by Soldier, burned their bubbles, got pushed. What's the plan? I don't know. Like, there's obviously a reason for that position, I just don't see what it is. Because, like, the one reason I could think of is for them to be able to rush down main, and they had the most obvious opportunity to do that, and they just didn't. Okay. Yeah, that's what should happen whenever Reaper TP bubbles just for no reason. Just for fun. Nano Visor available now for the Fuel. They're probably going to do something similar, but then followed up with Nano Visor with Sparkle sprinting across the top here.
He's just waiting. He's straight over the top. Can they stop? Damage being done. Twilight in trouble. Nice grab. But
you will love to go deeper than you expect them to go. And again, like, you can counter this by just, like, giving up all the space. But if you try to counter this by using an aggressive cooldown like Grav, all you're doing is baiting your team into staying aggressive during Fuel's opportunity window. At best, you've reset momentum of the pendulum back to neutral, but not in your favor. This is only in your favor if Fuel have literally nothing left or if they've overexposed and overextended themselves. But look at all the space you've given up. You can't expect your team to retake back into this with just a Grav play against all of this damage, and HANBIN probably still has another bubble. There it is. Just wait your turn. Commit more to getting out and living, and then wait your turn. Way too optimistic. What if it was intentional to time that with Hisu loading? That's, that'd be impressive, but I doubt it.
That was great play by Sparkle. One of the hardest things about attacking that point is contesting them on that high ground. If you rocket jump onto there, it got done. You saw that aggression force Hopper into the grab, but they didn't have an answer to the damage. Now Dallas Fuel holding this choke, making it so the Toronto Defiant can't walk in, but they have it now.
Awesome play available for Edison.
How are they going to mitigate this? Nice grab from HANBIN.
Yeah, commit. Oh, just kidding. Nice kill from Edison. Where was the bubble from HANBIN there? Edison just didn't get bubbled. I think they thought maybe the beat would be enough. Nice focus fire from Toronto.
On the flank is Edison, or at least tried to. Hisu doing a fair bit of work. The Toronto Defiant, they're holding it down, but Chio, once again, how is this guy just continuing to run rampage? Still Death Blossom.
Hisu says die.
From the Heast.
Great play by Chio once again.
All right, good stabilization from Toronto. This is one of the hardest points to take. So as long as they've got good holds here and they can react appropriately to Dallas's ult economy, they should be good for a few more minutes. Maybe they can full hold. Yeah, very, very close there. I think, like, if that bubble, if they had a bubble for Edison during his Blossom there, they win that 100%. But that was really good focus fire from Toronto. Well played for sure.
Make sure Edison doesn't get a free path or a free teleport into the backline. I say that. There's the nano. A nice
Goodbye, although.
But it wasn't enough to stop the impending damage. To highlight now in shambles. The Dallas Fuel just run over that fight. That was over before.
How many people turned to look at a TPing Reaper? So obviously although does, he has to react. What are all these people doing in the meantime? If they're not like aggressing right here or pushing into Zarya, like they're not, if they're just playing defensively. Now they're turning onto the Reaper. Twilight gets anti-nated. Like, Fuel are literally just flooding through this map. And you can't push everywhere all at once and have advantage everywhere. Toronto needs to pick and choose their battles. They can't only respond to one thing because then they'll get surrounded. But they can't under respect other threats either. Like they need to be able to match threats and equalize. Equalize is now word of the day. You need to be able to equalize advantage from Edison by taking advantage somewhere else. And you've got very good tools to do that, like Speed Boost and Bubbles, and we're just using them all defensively instead. There's a Night Blossom. I think that's definitely a worthwhile trade. You're not going to be able to full cap here, but this is going to get them around the first corner fairly easily. And then it's going to be easier for Sparkle and Fielder to set up more aggressive angles for the future fights.
No one has had an answer to with the Dallas Fuel. They just keep going. Edison never stops. He throws his body on the line. He is that front line.
Very hard to full cap this point as well, but I could see Fuel doing it. TP from Hisu gets him killed.
Hisu dies to a Helix rocket. The Toronto Defiant, they send out the grab.
What is this grab gonna do? Hotba's grabs have looked awful. He had that one good one, and then every other one has looked awful. Does the map just over? This might be like one of the fastest Midtowns we've ever seen. Chio does go down. That's very bad for Dallas considering he was that close to beat. Oh, HANBIN, can you see? Okay, I guess it was just barely enough. Thank you, Sparkle. I was worried about that. That shouldn't have gone. Given that the beat was still ticking for Toronto, I don't think that should have gone Dallas's way without Chio there to help him stabilize. But wrong I was. Good kills. My God, man, this is so one-sided. It's crazy. Hotba's grabs need work. Those timings are so optimistic. The biggest thing about those grab timings when you're trying to turn a fight is it's not you turning the fight, it's your entire team turning that fight. And if your entire team isn't on the same page, which they're clearly not, because after every single grab, your team was still backing up, so the grab was useless, then it's not worth grabbing.
Alright. Defiant's turn to attack. Can they match the offensive power?
Offensive.
Coming out from the Fuel.
Altho's going to try the same thing, and I guarantee Fuel has a play for this, ready to react to Although peeking over here. They're either going to go punish him or they're going to go punish everyone else. Okay, he's peeking relatively late. Yeah, like everyone does this. Everyone does this. Of course Fuel's ready for it. Although I didn't think just Sparkle would be enough to just kill him, but obviously Fuel's ready for this. And like in addition to that, Fuel's rushing in. Like I guarantee Fuel would have done this even if Sparkle didn't get this kill, but they were planning on doing this because this is where all those attention was, and then Sparkle's ready to pinch as well. Why is Hisu here? This is your main damage source, like even bigger than Soldier. What is he? What? Did he TP in? Okay, so this is actually a reaction to Hisu TPing literally nowhere, because this is exactly what happened on Lijiang Night Market when Hisu TP'd to point. Guess who died? Learn, Toronto. this is the easiest engage of Dallas's life because they know what to look for. They know exactly what triggers they're looking for, and then Toronto just keeps lining them up for them. Good God. Incredibly fast punish. And like, I say this like it's obvious because it looks obvious to the Fuel, obviously, but there are teams that just aren't experienced enough or aren't looking for the warning signs early enough to be able to have the discipline to find these opportunities as quick as Fuel does. So this is really impressive what Fuel's doing. I don't want to take away from that, but Toronto needs to learn from these situations and learn fast because they're gifting these fights to Fuel on a silver platter, fight after fight after fight after fight. And that needs to stop if they want to have any chance of being a decent team in the league. They obviously have set plays they're trying to execute, and they're getting punished every time for their set plays. So they need to understand when to execute those set plays and what they're giving up in exchange for the potential advantage they're trying to find from their set plays. All right, we'll just speed through this pause real quick.
3 minutes to go. A minute was burned. Everybody.
All right, we're back.
From the Dallas Fuel to start us off.
Very disappointing. McLovin and Chris M. Ferguson, thank you for the follows. And E-Wolf and Kazoo Kid. I think I called Kazoo Kid earlier. But yeah, thank you for the follows, everyone. Sorry, I've been missing notifications. I'm too heated at these teams. Oh, wait, maybe this is it. Maybe Toronto's waiting for the green light to literally go. And then that's what they're playing around. That's got to be it. Oh, no, they're speeding through a red. They're going to lose. You can't stay in this room. You can't develop aggressively, no. The longer Toronto stays here, the worse it is for them. Like, if you're going to try and rotate through here, you need to either develop up top so that people chasing you actually drop LOS from their important members, or as soon as you start losing advantage, you develop this way again to cut off LOS. You can't develop aggressively. What are you doing? Charong finds Chio, but like literally Dallas are chasing them in a straight line, and instead of like doing things that try to split Dallas's attention or bait them into bad positions, they just keep running away in a straight line. I don't understand. Toronto have great players, but they've always looked like they want to play individually. They looked better on the dive count, but I know Zarya's a lot stronger here. Yeah, but I mean, this was their map pick. And I think that's true of a lot of teams in the middling ranges for NA right now. Like Washington's another great example. Definitely a lot of individualistic play.
Turn your back to HANBIN because he will run you down. So let's see if Toronto Defiant take a different approach this time. But Dallas are running through the train. And then going straight over the high ground. Give me some airtime, why not? I think that helped him more.
Double self bubble used on Hotbud. Although it trades out for Chio. Chio has been spending a bit more time in the spawn room this round, but that's okay. Dallas clean up. This was a smart play. Since Toronto's looking so scripted, they just execute before Toronto's prepped for their play, and it's just as effective as punishing their play for its simplicity anyway. It's just catching Toronto off guard. This is really good for the mental game, actually, too. I don't think this is something people talk about enough, but it's less relevant in the Overwatch League, but it's relevant everywhere, but especially at like amateur levels of play or people like new to competitive play. If you shut down what someone's doing, they're either going to double down and try and do it better or do something completely different in response. This is what a lot of people in, say, like Counter-Strike or Valorant would call conditioning. But if you absolutely dominate someone at something, it's going to change the way they think of approaching that same situation. So because Toronto is just getting themselves like rocked every single team fight, I guarantee that in comms they're talking about like, okay, do this instead, do this, do this, do this. And that's a lot of brain power that might not be focused on all the other little things like proper positioning as you're setting up, like marking and scouting space and scouting threats. So when Dallas pulls the trigger early, when Toronto Defiant's talking about all these hypotheticals that are going to happen back here, they're less prepared, they're more scattered, they're not as ready to work as a team to defend from that situation, and it booms them even more. So nice execution. Those plays are always going to be good at high level play. It's very, very hard to stay composed for every type of situation that could exist. HANBIN just runs it down. Another great example of just catching them off guard. But the counter grab happens here. Toronto have an opportunity to balance this out, but the grab and the beat find nothing. Grab and beat used from Toronto. Chio's forced to beat in response, but nothing is found. And they're going to keep going. Okay, maybe not, maybe not. That was crazy. Dallas have only Blossom. Toronto have Nano and Blossom coming up. How vital mental is and how stressful it is when you're playing against blown up so easily quickly. Especially when you're on on stage like this on match day on an important game. Absolutely. HANBIN goes down. That's a nice nano play onto Reaper here. Okay, very eager Edison. Sparkle equalizes a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be enough. This should go Toronto's way. Yeah, they got the point. They got everything. Don't know where Sparkle ran off to, but I don't think he can do much here. He took top from the attacker's side. Can anyone come into touch? HANBIN's here on the Doomfist. His signature hero. Nah, it's over. Nice play from Hisu. Yeah, they had to go for Hail Mary play there, so trying to all in the sleeping Reaper was probably a decent idea, but obviously low chance of success. Well played for Toronto to clean that up. Shame it took them that long, but they need to clean up their executions.
That attack from the Toronto Defiant, sometimes they're getting too cute with it. They're trying to do too many strategies and maneuvering around. The one fight that they just walk at the Dallas Fuel, it works. You're in the mirror composition. You just got to have confidence in yourself because Dallas Fuel have confidence. Nothing but confidence. So Toronto Defiant, I want to see more of that. Stop trying to navigate around them and letting Dallas Fuel go first.
Dallas Fuel want to go first right now. You see what ults are up. Nanovisor and a teleport from Edison across to the other side there. That green tarpaulin should be good. I like that position.
Such good neutral pressure. You see how, by the way, I just want to bring this up because I want more Reaper players to start doing this. You see how Edison is just literally hiding up here this whole prep phase? Normally, Reaper's damage is very good in neutral. Like we saw in first fight COTS, like you saw both Reapers trying to shoot at the enemy Zarya, trying to force their bubbles early because that's an advantage that you can push on. But when you already have an advantage, for example, ultimate advantage, for example, positional advantage because you're on the defending side and you've got setups here, you don't need damage as much to force these advantages. They have to push the payload, they have to walk into an ultimate fight, they have to do something to create space because they're the attackers. Whatever it is, you can use that advantage and then use surprise burst damage as your fight closer more often if teams aren't expecting the Reaper. The way Toronto's doing this a lot of the time is by trying to force mid-fight TPs or even starting fight TPs from Hisu that go, in their minds, ideally, unmitigated thanks to Hot Buzz Bubble and to the timing that they get aggressive with them. But that's a lot more predictable than a hiding Reaper dropping on top of you. I really like it's obviously the opposite of a flashy play, but I love seeing a Reaper hide and stand still here because it's so smart and it's so clear what Fuel want to do. They want to bait Toronto to have the confidence to go forward here, and then they want to turn the aggression onto them.
It's holding it. Could be so strong, just dropping at the bottom. Another one. There he is, jumping up. Nanovisor's been hit. Hisu's already down. Those bubbles don't last for long. You got Nanovisor.
And yeah, granted, Edison didn't even really do anything here. This was all Sparkle, good timing. But the same concepts apply.
Burning down the time back as much as possible with a minute and 50 to go.
It feels like Sparkle's new trick he just learned. Yo, I'm gonna rocket jump in and we're gonna Nanovisor, and he's just doing it on cooldown.
We need the Tony Hawk like sound.
The Tony Hawk.
The rails. Yeah. You can see Dallas Fuel why they wanted this position. They want to take this window, force Toronto Defiant to clear it because Edison's waiting in that room.
Yes,
but they're going to force him out early, which is important because they can't keep walking into this crossfire. Oh,
yikes! That was close. Yeah, luckily.
Scary from Edison for sure. Alright, he wants to get out now, I think.
It's all good. Dropping straight down on the soldier. No healing station, buddy. Where you running? Oh, to your team? Well, I got Wraith Form. It doesn't matter. I got bubbles to back me up. Once again, Chio finding kills onto Hisu, the player that we needed to stand up for the Toronto Defiant. That was close. Yeah, luckily, Fielder's just over there. Like, he can just heal it. It's all good.
So, although being here as Soldier, as the first one out, makes sense if you're trying to force an off angle for Although, but I would still like to see him escorted by Chorong. But then, at the same time, we see Edison over here, and then we see their team rotating towards Soldier. And they knew Reaper was up here, right? They knew because they shot him a bunch, they called him out, he's been here the entire game. So, like, if the call is to rotate here, why is Soldier running ahead of the pack, not getting speed boost, not within immediate Zarya coverage? Why is the team collapsing onto the enemy Reaper and while still in sightlines for Sparkle, Fielder, and HANBIN to collapse on? Like, Toronto's walking into the mousetrap right now. Why not execute a play over here, knowing where the Reaper is. And that might draw Reaper's attention, and then although can take this angle as Soldier solo if he wants, and then they can go for a Nano Visor after they kite out the aggression here, and Fuel overexposes themselves trying to punish this fight zone. Why are you forcing a rotation while ignoring the biggest damage dealer in the game and putting yourself in a collapsible location to multiple angles after you've already revealed the most important threat on the off angle here? You're doing nothing to force him out. You're doing everything to burn your cooldowns before his damage is even coming online right now because you're forcing an aggressive rotation in front of multiple sightlines, and then you're expecting to like continue moving forward. Like what is Hisu thinking right now? What does Hisu think the fight is going to look like right now? Does he think he's going to walk past Chio and like kill 5 people? Does he think Sparkle's not going to see him and force him out? Does he think Hanbin's not going to push the back of his team? Fuel's done nothing but hit the gas this entire game. Why are you just walking past them, burning bubbles, walking in front of a Reaper? This makes no sense.
Oh, to your team? Well, I got Wraithball.
What is Soldier going to do in here?
It doesn't matter. I got bubbles to back me up.
What is Zarya going to do in this position without her bubbles?
The player that we needed to stand up for the Toronto Defiant.
Great, you got past, and now your Reaper's dead. What are you going to do now? You're going to continue walking forward? Great. Okay, well, if Chio Ajaxes, nice job. But, like, they 100% lose that if a bubble blocks the nade and if Chio gets his beat off. But, like, that was so punishable. And Fuel didn't even, like, have or use ultimates there, other than being ready to use a beat. And Toronto just, like, walked through like they owned the map. That was horrible. And they should not have gotten away with that. They grabbed through a choke point, acting like they'd be able to go through it, and if that nade from Twilight doesn't hit, like if a bubble from HANBIN blocks it, then they instantly lose that fight. And Fuel's already back, by the way, and they're already winning a fight. Like, as I'm finishing my thought. What is going on? And now you're on... I mean, they're just, like, dying this fight. This doesn't matter, but... Oh, wait, no, it does matter, because there's 10 seconds on the clock. I didn't even realize. What is the plan, Toronto? Are you just going to act like you're not seeing threats appear on your screen? Are you going to act like that Reaper wasn't there the entire game? What's the plan? Disappointing. Now they take to Toronto. Finally, Muse is in. They've got a dive map. Again, I think they could have picked, for example, Eichenwald as their hybrid map and forced the Winston pick into the Zarya and had more success there. Zarya struggles a lot on Eichenwald second. Didn't Toronto fire their cults? KDG, yeah. I don't know if that's as a result of this tournament, if this was something in the works, if it's a result of something internally. I don't know if it was a firing or a mutual resigning. Like, not much is clear there. The only thing that did come out was Logix's statement, which was not a kind one, but based on their history, a seemingly expected one.
It's tough to play against this dive.
But yeah. Also DP to Vancouver, yep.
No TP for you. Well, maybe a TP in a bubble. Okay, there you go. Nice, alright. Nice play from Fearless.
Smart play. Fearless in and Gurio in, by the way.
Maybe he's supposed to go high ground, but
he missed it, but I would have missed it.
Oh, and Finale in as well. Missed that.
We see Gurio go over to that Ash, so he's going to have that high damage. The number one
was Gurio planning on coming out on Widowmaker? I wasn't even paying attention. No, he swapped directly to Ash. Maybe it's because they saw they had Genji Tracer, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they planned on having one Widow or not. Time for me to go fix Toronto. If I spoke Korean, maybe I could apply. Unfortunately, that's a bit of a limiting factor for coaching Overwatch these days. I mean, this is pretty standard. Again, as the dive team on defense here, I talked about this the other day. As a dive team with Tracer especially, I think you're okay with giving up the first half of this map. This is a really aggressive dive. So let me finish my point. You're kind of okay with the payload pushing basically like exactly where it is now because you want teams to be baited into like these rotations. And you want Finale and although, but this is true still if you have like a Widow or a Soldier in your backline, to be able to use like these angles around the map to hit from behind as you pinch them. I think those are very good angles for flankers to take. But this is a very aggressive angle that's forcing Toronto into a somewhat linear position, and I'm guessing they're doing this because they think they have numbers advantage up here. But they're kind of walking into Gurio angles, a big old dynamite.
They are quite literally burning blue right now. Gurio trying to take the 1v1. It's pretty hard.
Oh, Chio, turn around.
Finale, who's another Tracer player who's been exceptional.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a very forced rotation. I think knowing Finale's behind you, especially here. So this rotation, either Gurio needs to be like already over here looking down these stairs to make this work, and then he can catch up with his bubble. Or I think he detaches himself from this fight maybe, but he's too low to do that and expect to win the duel against Finale. So he needs like a double pack from Chio right now, and either the team needs to cancel and rotate this way, or cancel this push and just stabilize on point with Gurio if they want to play for Ashe. If they want to play for just a frontline dive here, good luck, have fun, Gurio, but they need to find advantage right now because otherwise Finale's going to win this duel every time.
The 1v1 is pretty hard against the Tracer, and it is Finale who's another Tracer player who's been exceptional.
But that's a nice counter dive from Muse, and obviously good space from good space marking from Finale, and then all those also there for the cleanup. Really good dive from Toronto.
Look at the ult charge from the Dallas Fuel, from the Toronto Defiant, sorry, right now. That pulse bomb from Sparkle, that was a Hail Mary at the very end. Is he switching or is he sticking? Because that seemed like a bit of a fat finger to me.
Sparkle's done that in the past as well. Sometimes he likes to go for those Hail Mary plays, go for the Reddit clips. But Gurio, you saw the issue of that Ashe. As soon as their team goes forward, Gurio just gets left on his own little island, and Finale just hunting him down. So let's see if Gurio can find some more space this time.
Ooh, nice little dynamite, forcing the recall.
That's scary if you're Finale, but only Sparkle's in right now. Sparkle not known for taking very aggressive Tracer duels, so that's kind of okay. Fearless somehow finds Chorong, and Muse is going to die now. Just kidding, he's got Primal. Chio taken down with a Pulse Bomb. Sleep Dart should come out here from Fielder if he has it. He doesn't have it. Alright. Muse earning his paycheck. Doing really well in these counter dive situations. Chorong with the rally here as well, and a Blade from Baldo. This should be like, this next fight, if it comes down to ultimate, should really go in Toronto's favor. Unless Fearless hits a Fearless with his Primal, it's going to be really hard for Dallas to get in versus both a Blade and the rally here. Rally will help stabilize, Blade will counter backline rotation. Gurio playing very safely here. Fearless going in here. The rally is helping stabilize though. This is big juggles. And then here's the Blade. Yeah, this should kill everyone. Oh, that's a nice sleep though, but okay, Gurio finds Muse. Wait, Finale didn't get Fielder there? Fielder's 0 HP. He must have picked up the Mega below them. No, he's right there. He must have gotten, he naded himself and got packed from Chio, so the pack's probably still ticking. But still, he used nade, he used sleep, and Finale's not getting any damage in right now. Meanwhile, Gurio's killing the entire team. Oh, that feels bad for Finale. And then Bob will help stabilize and finish up the point here, hopefully. Is Bob touching? It doesn't look like he is. Oh, nice pulse bomb. Finale! Okay, making up for those missed shots on Ana earlier.
Toronto Defiant in this game, but the
wait, Dallas capped?
Touching right now, but it might just be enough.
Oh, they just capped. How? Who's even on? Fearless? That's so annoying. That so feels bad for Toronto. They would have held. Look at the ult economy too. Dallas didn't have much. They had just rally. That's crazy. I didn't even realize. That feels so bad for Toronto. I think they might have full held, honestly. They were coming up on Nano and only rally was coming up and there was like less than a minute on the clock. That's so tragic. Gurio on this Ashe is farming. Against double dive DPS. That's impressive.
Another sleep even. Muse is doing next to nothing on the Winston. Is really punishing going for these dives when Fielder has these cooldowns up. Fearless though has been slept by Twilight.
Finale finding Sparkle. Finale again popping off.
An attempted sleep from Fielder. He's so low.
Really good aggressive play here for Toronto. This is like, they look like a different team compared to last map. They looked so slow. They were waiting way too often. They were forcing disadvantageous states. But now, yeah, maybe this is just them being able to express more individually. Tracer doesn't need a lot of help. Muse knows how to play Winston by himself. Although can play reactively as the Genji.
Nice nade onto Fearless. Beacon can back off rather easily.
Finale looking very aggressive on the Tracer. I like it.
1v1 of all time as Finale's getting healed, but that's okay. Fearless jumps in and gets slept. Finale with another stick. Doesn't quite
Not quite. It looked like it sucked. It looked like it was going straight for his face. Sparkle does find Twilight on the other side of the map, but Fearless going down might slow things, especially with his Primal coming in from Muse. Yeah, really nice. And if only Anna's dead, now she just gets a free rotation up to the high ground. They have to give up this corner, but that's absolutely fine. They've burned a lot of time. They had over 3 minutes when they capped first point. Now they're down to 1:30, going through all of second point. Toronto, not many ults on the board, obviously. Nano and Primal available with Dallas. Another Bob coming up as well, but lots of space to cover. Nano Blade from Toronto should be coming up soon. That'll come up before Rally from Chio.
Needs to get this high ground control away from Toronto Defiant. Ideally, that's where they want to be with the Ash. There's the engagement.
Fearless getting slept. That's kind of fine. Nano into Chio. The raid boss comes online. Is Muse gonna die? Muse is dead. Finale gets headshot by Gurio. This kid's insane. Alright, I might have a contender for my next best Ash in the league after Kai.
As long as Toronto stays alive in this fight, they might be good. He's so close to that rally, but it doesn't look like Toronto Defiant want to pop it just yet. They know the Dallas Fuel can regroup quickly, which is what they've done, so they end up backing off.
Despite giving up space here, this is actually really good for Toronto in an attempt to full hold second here. Like, the ult economy is in their favor right now, even if it's just barely. Muse being closer to Primal is actually massive, but Fearless might honestly charge his, knowing how he plays Winston. Okay.
Look at this. The Fuel actually going for a big wraparound. They need to find something. Time's ticking. Finale with a double pulse bomb. They cannot let Finale keep the way with these pulses. The Dallas Fuel are now in overtime. They don't have Bob. They don't have Rally. Two huge ultimates taken away from them. Charon kills Spark.
I can't tell what is happening on point, but that's a full hold on second point. Earlier than most second point holds as well. Usually they end right near the cap point because that's like such a hard point to break. Finale, he's trying to pull a proper. That's winnable for sure. Which confused me again, like why they forced Midtown and forced a Zarya map. Maybe they just haven't had much success on. Excuse me, Iconwald.
Two tools that the Fuel needed.
Absolute maniac.
And the Bob. Like Finale comes in, you know, maybe a bit cold, right? It's his first game on stage for the Defiant.
Yeah, Finale has definitely impressed me. Seeing the Widow on both sides now, Gurio opting to run Widow on defense. So maybe this is different in Overwatch 2, but I've always felt that like Widow always makes more sense on attack. And maybe in Overwatch 2, Bob is more valuable now for the Ashe, and that's why Gurio is prioritizing that big. But like on paper, it seems like Widow can do more and gets more out of her picks on attack than defense. Like looking just at picks, and I know it's not like a consistent thing to aim for picks on Widow plays, especially in the Overwatch League, but getting a pick as Widow, even just killing the enemy Widow. So let's imagine like either the defending Widow kills the attacking Widow or vice versa. If the attacking Widow kills the defending Widow, that's a lot of space potentially gained for the attackers and a potential deeper engage as the fight develops. If the defending Widow kills the attacking Widow, that's just 10 seconds on the clock where the Widow isn't there, that the defenders don't need to push. The attackers don't need to push. The defenders have to react to something if their Widow dies. The attackers can opt to play slower if their Widow dies. So it's curious to me that Gurio is opting for the Widow only on defense here and not prioritizing on attack. It's very possible it's because they scouted out Tracer and Genji. It's possible because they play Ashe for Bob. I'm not sure. But it's interesting to me.
Feels like he's running around the map for free with no.
And I am excited to see Gurio's Widow.
We didn't see Gurio kill Finale once.
Although switching over to the
We did see Gurio kill Finale once. He got him with a headshot.
Gurio, nice nade. I think it resulted in too much. That's what I want to see.
Oh, he's got the young man aim. Look how fast his crosshair's moving.
Although it goes back onto the Genji, maybe just looking for that first shot.
He's a young gamer in his prime.
On that Widow, maybe won't have that space to shoot like he's going to want to.
Yeah, you can see slowly the Defiant are encroaching on their position. And yeah, you have to pay respects to the Widowmaker, but when you can just push the payload, get high ground with the Genji, it's pretty tough to do much.
Just look at how much space the Dallas Fuel is giving to the Toronto Defiant.
Yeah, again, with the Tracer on your side, you're fine giving up all of this first point. I think if you're playing like double hit scan, like if you're playing, well, you wouldn't play double hit scan, but if you're playing like, I don't know, Zarya Reaper, I guess, you would want to hold close and play for the first half of first point. But for this type of composition, you're more than happy playing the back end. What was that? Frame by frame analysis. Okay, he's staring directly at his toes. He's not human. It's not possible.
Denying that away. Hit the Venom mine, which is kind of frustrating. Oh, Gurio's in the back. No way, here's this headshot. Oh, he's straight there. Of course he does. Are you didn't expect that, did you?
I didn't even see his head.
That was absurd. His head was on the screen for one frame. See, when I try to do that, when I pick Widow, I've got a bad habit of doing that and trying to do the instant scope out so you get the faster movement afterwards and stuff like that. But I do that and I try to hit the one frame window and then I just right click too early and I don't actually end up pulling the trigger. That was absurd. Alright, Gurio, just kill everyone, why don't you? Absolutely bonkers.
And then becomes the body shot bandit as the fight goes on, getting those important.
That was awesome.
And Toronto Defiant has to take the risk.
Dallas Fuel have that nano, they've got the pulse, near in that sight. But look at the Toronto Defiant, they're so far away from that blade, Scott. It's been quite tough for them to build it up. Okay, they're checking Guria, makes sense. Nano boost onto Fearless, jumps to the back.
Nice.
A lot of dead supports. Goodbye.
Good pinch. I mean, again, like this is exactly why you want to play dive on the second half here. You want to bait their backline into that corridor because it's really the only safe space for them to be. And then you catch them trying to get aggressive and you pinch them with Winston and Tracer while the rest of the team is dodging Widow angles. Although finds Gurio, but will that be enough to get them past first point here? Have some sights from spawn, says Gurio. Yeah, they're nowhere near enough to push this right away, so they have to play a little bit of neutral. That's giving time for Gurio to get back. He won't be back entirely before Finale and Ryuz could find something, but that anti-needle buys some time. The nano hits, although he doesn't have blades yet. Oh, and Choron goes down. Yeah, that was a really early nano without a planned execution, I think. When did that nano come out? So they have it right now. So Winston's jumping in right now, and then although gets nanoed back here. And I don't see who from the fuel they're focusing. Gurio grapples away and he's fine. Although just uses dash onto nothing. Very ambitious. Maybe they thought they'd kill Fearless with a Nano Genji. It's basically a shotgun. But yeah, the primal and then just the cleanup. They just kite back. That was a very linear engage from Toronto. They're not, and now they're using, yeah, like they're using Tracer and Genji. They need to cover more of the map, and they need to have more neutral threat, specifically onto Gurio for sure from the Genji, and then making sure that whenever they are collapsing with Tracer and the Genji especially, they need to get more instant value. Which is hard. Obviously, you're trying to work space and find dive angles all at the same time without overexposing your backline. There's a lot to get through from Fuel's side, especially the way Gurio's playing. Good God. Oh, hello. Goodbye. Nice play, Sparkle. Sparkle's a very cerebral Tracer. He's not the player to go for all the flashy plays or go for like the triple blink pulse bombs and stuff like that. And there are players that do that consistently, and it's super impressive. But Sparkle plays like against people. He gets in their heads and he reads people and he like pisses people off, I'm sure, in like Tracer duels and stuff like that. Even if he's not the most mechanically insane Tracer player. Not to say that he's like a slouch mechanically. Okay, but just Nano Blade kills everyone? Okay. Not even Nano Blade, just Blade? What's happening here? Why is Gurio so low? He's getting 1v1 by Tracer. He's in spawn, I guess? No, there's Finale. Why? Gurio's in. Oh, he didn't stay window and apartments. He went to the Mega, and I think Finale finished him off. And Finale blinks back into the fight. And then the Blade comes through with a little bit of rally armor and the Winston jumping in. This is, again, very linear aggression, but just Dallas didn't have the positioning to deal with it. Fielder's in a okay position, but obviously not good enough. And without any defensive resources, I think Fielder was trying to walk up for an early nade, given that was last fight, and then just was not ready for that amount of pressure.
And make sure they get that first checkpoint. But with 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go, it's still an upwards hill battle.
All right. Well, they did full hold here, so it's not unwinnable. But Dallas has been holding really well. Gurio swapping onto the Ashe now. I think Widow's pretty good here still, but because of the wide nature of the map, you want to play closer to your team here, and I think Ashe plays closer to the team a little bit safer than Widow. If Widow could play over here safely, i.e. if one of these characters wasn't in the mix and Sparkle could say like Mark Finale and although was playing something like Soldier or Widow himself, or I guess that would be swapped, then Gurio would probably have more confidence on the Widow, but dealing with 2 flankers and a Winston on 2 very separated lanes here is a hard ask, so he's probably going to play safer on the Ashe, play more towards his team, play more for dynamite angles and stuff like that. Harder to collapse on 3 people there than it is to collapse on a single person who's looking for wide sights. Ooh, Fearless dropping low. Oh my goodness, but that was on Sparkle, so it doesn't matter. Fearless primaling. I think they were expecting more follow-up when Finale landed the stick, so Fearless trying to disrupt that. Sparkle going down to Muse, because he did have his recall burned, and goodbye Gurio as well. Oh, stalling out a little bit versus Fearless. He's going to stall the point. Gonna be tough to get out of this one now for Dallas. Nano and Winston could be enough to stuff the chokes here. Trying to get as much payload progress as possible here since it doesn't need to full cap. This is already scary if you're Dallas. You've only got Rally and Pulse Bomb. You need to make something happen with them.
Okay, Sparkle Pulse, he's not hiding this time around.
Nano on Winston. Jumps the backline. No. They were anticipating them to fall back here, unfortunately. And I think since you have 2 flankers, you want your Genji like top church during this, ready to dash to either follow the Winston or cut off this angle, and then the Winston jumps in from main, and then Tracer has to come from this angle realistically, unless she takes the time to go all the way around here, which is very predictable and will be seen coming, and then you just kite this way, obviously. So good kite direction from Dallas, but I'm questioning where Although is during all of this. If Although was there, I think he'd be able to jump more aggressively there as Muse. But instead they're countering Fearless, who somehow lives. Just kidding. Sparkle takes a Twilight though, and that's definitely a worthwhile trade. For Dallas, that is. It's so close. The nade finds nothing. Muse is at 1 HP though. He has to jump out and jump straight back to the spawn room. Gurio's now completely uncontested.
This is Toronto Defiant's time to back up, go again, make this a fight win. Nice kill into Finale.
Nice. One more fight for Toronto. Blade coming up, Rally coming up, Pulse coming up. No ultimates yet, but Pulse soon, Bob soon. If they get a Bob mid-fight, it's actually massive. That's so scary. They beefed it. Yeah, I really think it's, if Although was there for that Nano Monkey play, I don't know why it was on point. It's very greedy to like put 3 people on point there, thinking that's enough pressure when Although could be setting up his Genji. Nice dynamite. Ooh, Although Brait wasted his dash there too. Oh, he's gonna die before he can blade. Oh, and it's over. Toronto, you were doing so well for a while there. And it's over. 3-0 Dallas. Oh, that was actually really close. That map in particular. The other 2 maps, it's gone. But that map for Toronto was actually really close. Well played from Fuel to clean things up there. Gurio super impressed me. Absolutely. His hit scan play. I'm glad they have... I was thinking, I was like, why do you have both Gurio and Edison on the roster if you're bringing in Edison to be like the hit scan specialist? But like Edison as like a initiator flanker specialist, and then like Gurio as like an anchor long range hit scan specialist makes a lot of sense, given that performance especially. Whew. Maybe they could have nano even later. You don't necessarily have to nano there. You can go on second jump after you force positioning. True. But there is something to be said about overwhelming with initial resources when you are going for an ultimate play. But you can do more positionally to guarantee that initial ultimate play too. There's different ways of putting your priorities at different times during the fight for sure. It just fell a little bit flat there because Fuel kited the correct way. They also could have kited the correct way by just dropping to the ground, but then Tracer would have an easier time following up. So this matchup on paper looks one-sided. The first two maps absolutely one-sided. But that third map came really, really close. I'm so surprised Toronto didn't put Muse in and go Eichenwald second map. I think they might be regretting that decision a little bit, forcing Midtown and then forcing the Zarya mirror again. Looking a little bit rough there.
Hey, fuck you,
Fuel, I didn't have much to say about Fuel because they were kind of just winning. I didn't have a lot of criticism for them, despite like they are a somewhat linear looking team, but when it works, why change it? You know? So it was working against Toronto. They didn't have to change much. The Gurio swap in, I was wondering if Gurio's been getting swapped in during the regular season just for playtime, because from what I saw, for the most part, he was only getting swapped in during games against considerably weaker teams. And maybe you consider Toronto a considerably weaker team, but this is a tournament. I imagine they're here to win. They're here to win quick. So Gurio not only being subbed in for that map, but also showing such a dominant performance. That Widow clip, that's insane. That's montage stuff. So good stuff on them. Toronto, if you want to fix your problems, just make plays that make sense, man. Play more dive if that's what suits you guys. But if you're going to force the Zarya, like, don't be so obvious. Don't only engage with Reaper TPs and stop wasting grabs. Like, that's if you do those two things, you win like 50% more fights versus Dallas alone. And you well, maybe not win, but you don't instantly throw 50% more fights versus Dallas in this matchup alone. And I think you start getting a better understanding of how to approach fights as a macro team. But what we saw here was a definite misunderstanding of priorities for the Zarya composition on Toronto's side. And again, that makes it so surprising to me that they prioritized that comp when going up against Dallas, the Zarya team. But overall, some light at the end of the tunnel for Toronto. Hopefully, next patch, they'll be able to lean more into dive, and I can justify me putting them at, 5th or 6th. But if not, if things slow down, if things become more methodical, it's going to look way worse for Toronto. And maybe a little bit better for Fuel, because they're the team that can play fast in any meta. And if they can play fast in a slow, like methodical meta, Fuel's going to look insane. Which is like how they found dominance last year, up until the grand finals, basically, with their high-paced, like all-in 6-man rush comps.